That's my dinner for today with some of that. So it's mostly broccoli greens and cilantro. The Riot and the Dance, I'm going to talk about that a little bit more. And the rest of these things. Well, James drinks some Green Machine and cilantro juice.
How bad is it going to be?
Well, it's going to be cilantro juice. I mixed a little bit of spirulina in to sweeten it up, but I can't imagine that'll help any. That's green juice. The Naked Green Machine, that's just a treat. The cilantro juice, that's some serious business. And I gave James half of the cilantro juice and I kept half back for myself because I drink my gross juice first thing in the morning before I work out. So, and you can see I still have quite a bit to go, but
I think you're pretty good weight right now.
but I'm gonna absorb some vitamin D now because so you're just gonna have to look at it anyway because it's just I would like to get some vitamin D today. I mean, how often do you have a summer day in February?
Was it
Beginning of
18
February.
or something? It's predicted to be or something?
Yep. So, gotta take advantage of it. Get all the vitamin D I can. So, anyway, now what was I going to talk about in this? Well, I guess where we left off yesterday was elephant seals on beaches. What he said was, this is not how the beaches will be run in the resurrection. That's what he said.
Oh, this is the Christian Science guy?
Christian biologist.
Yeah. Well, this one,
Dr. Gordon
prepare
Wilson.
yourself, folks. Don't die laughing. So go ahead.
No, I think he introduced a lot of interesting things about animals too. He was really hands-on with the animals, which I don't like. I don't like seeing people, like there was that Australian guy that everybody made fun of, and I think he died, didn't he?
He was awful. I think he was having a ghost experience of the worst kind with an animal.
Yeah. I don't like it when they do that. And I realized that he, like a lot of what he was doing, I remember when I was younger, and I always have the temptation to get hands-on with animals too, and oftentimes they don't mind, but many of them really don't like it. And if you could tell they don't like it, why do you persist in being hands-on with them? Anyway, so one day when I was a lot younger, I think I was in my teens, so I wasn't like a really young kid. But anyway, I found a chorus frog up north in a pond, and I was just delighted that I found this little frog. It was so lovely, and I was holding it, and I wasn't even holding it tightly or anything. I just wanted to hold it to show somebody or whatever, and it didn't take long. It was like a few seconds, it seemed like, and it stopped moving. And I looked and it seemed dead, and I tried to put it in the water and it wouldn't move. I think I gave it a heart attack just picking it up. You know?
They say birds, it can happen.
Yeah. And so I see these people, they do the bird counts and they stick up nets to try to catch birds with different bird songs and stuff. And I think, how many are you losing when you do that? Because
They're not going to tell
they're
you.
little hearts. Right? Little birds.
That's the little bird's hearts, not
Yeah.
the people who are doing it.
Yeah. So anyway, I really don't like it. Ever since the little chorus frog, I don't want to pick up a frog. And I'm really careful about things like that. And it bothers me when I see people that are hands-on like this. Like he was handling a frog. It was a big frog. And it really I think it was a toad actually. But I was a big fan of the Nature Net when I was a teenager, and I think I remember him saying that all toads are frogs, but not all frogs are toads. So, but anyway, this guy, Dr. Gordon Wilson, had this toad in his hand, and the toad really, really wanted to get away. Kept trying, and the guy kept, and why? Why did he insist on holding it? Anyway, but, anyway, back to elephant seals. So, James and I, we left off talking about the Bible, and James was pointing out how at no time does the Bible suggest that God ever approved of sacrificing one's children.
I don't think so.
But God was pretty bloodthirsty, and he certainly did approve of sacrificing. We were listening to the Old Testament on Living Translations and while we were driving around to go to our hike and back. And the whole story of Cain and Abel, it always bothered me when I was young because I was raised to be vegetarian. And why didn't God, and plus I knew how much harder it is to grow food, vegetables and whatever, than it is to be a shepherd and just let your sheep go mow down a pasture and then harvest them. It's a lot harder to maintain a garden. Now, if you're keeping livestock enclosed, well, that's harder, because then you have to bring feed to them rather than let them wander around and find their own feed. But anyway, so the story of Cain and Abel bothered me because why didn't God, he wants the blood sacrifice. That's what he approves of. He doesn't want the vegetables that Cain provided as an offering that he'd grown. And so anyway, I don't know really what more to say about that.
Well, Moses acting as God's agent. Moses comes down from Mount Sinai with the tables of the law. He sees the Hebrews dancing and singing and carrying on, worshiping a golden calf that they had, I believe it was Aaron, Moses' brother, fashioned. And he gets really mad. I think he throws down the tablets, breaks them. Talk about a tantrum. I was acting on God's command. He doesn't kill his brother for fashioning this. Aaron survived that. When he takes out 3,000 of these worshippers. Well, somewhere in the Bible, I think it's the Old Testament, know ye not that I, your God, am a jealous God, something like that. Probably misquoting it, but I'm giving the report across. No, presumably he loves his people, but no, that's stalkerish. You know, like that's like O.J. Simpson or something like that. I think we should hold God to the same sort of standards we hold people to. People, it's not right for them to punish people they love just because the love isn't reciprocated enough or whatever.
Anyway,
there's much worse than those bloody sacrifices. But anyway, and that's just one example. according to the account, when the Jews walk in to the so-called land of Canaan, they're ordered to whack everyone, including, I think, women and children. They let the Gibeonites go, but the Gibeonites were made into slaves. That's how they survived. Now, I think the story was exaggerated. I think that was set up as an ideal, whack everyone that was in the land. But, the people in Jerusalem, for example, survived it would be, not according to the biblical account. The biblical account, it would have been they survived for maybe 500 years, 450 years. But according to actual, the Exodus occurs somewhere around 1866 BC. And you take something like 40 years off there, or whatever, the time for the wandering in the wilderness, you're down to about 1800 maybe, BC. So they were, the people in Jerusalem, according to that account, would have survived 800 years. Anyway, they weren't whacked.
So we left off on Living Translations today, listening to the story of how, who was it? Was Hagar.
Oh yeah, the mother of Ishmael. Yeah. The handmaid, that's concubine, should be a sex slave.
Yeah, like that's the wife says, oh yeah, you go ahead and she's my slave, so yeah, I give you permission.
You have a kid through her, right?
So poor Hagar.
Because Sarai was not she was called that at that point in time. Eventually her name was changed to Sarah. And strictly speaking, Abraham was called Abraham, and then his name was changed.
And I mean, I guess God wanted that to happen because the angels had told Buddy that, oh yeah, you're going to have lots of children, right?
As many as the stars in the sky.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if it's the angels or if he was talking to God directly. I forgot.
I think it was an angel came to me.
As many as the sands of is it the sea or the seashore? I'm not sure.
My interpretation of that is that's God's seal of approval. Yeah, go ahead with, because that's what ended up happening, right? But anyway, so when Dr. Gordon Wilson is saying, this is not how the beaches will be run in the resurrection, because he doesn't like how the elephant seals carry on and like raping their harem, basically. Like the big women they can't get away. They're just little compared to the huge men. And anyway, but males, elephant seals, and other things are just, most people would find it unpleasant about their behavior and whatever. But really, I look at the elephant seals, and I go, well, this is God. But I also look at the most beautiful, like I love porcupines. Oftentimes when we watch nature shows, we get an impression of nature, oh, it's so violent, it's so awful. The most aggressive winds or whatever. And it's like, well, I go searching up the mountains and find delicate little flowers that I guess have been there since the beginning of time or something. They've been there for so long, right? And they keep living there somehow, and there's nothing aggressive about them, yet they keep going. Or I love porcupines. Porcupines are wonderful creatures, not aggressive in the least. They don't have to be. They have protection. And so anyway, I look at these things and I say, well, this is God too. Right?
Maybe they push each other around.
They're very sweet little things.
That's what they look like.
So not everything is aggressive. And
three-toed sloths.
Yeah, I can't imagine they're aggressive at all.
I don't think they could be
I don't
would have
think they
enough
could be.
energy to be aggressive with
No.
each other. Yeah, they basically survive by moving so slowly and not being noticeable. A lot of people are that way. Passive people. They're afraid to move. They almost are
But anyway,
paralyzed.
I find that I have tried to, for a long time, I would look at different creatures in nature and think, I really can't stand whatever. Cougars scare me. And then, for the past while, I've been thinking, well, I want to try to have an appreciation for all of nature and think, well, everything has its purpose. I may not like to see a hawk get a critter, or whatever. It's not fun for me. We've seen it, and quite a lot, and it's not so fun, but that's an aspect of God. And by looking at by trying to accept all of nature and seeing, well, it has a purpose and whatever, I accept myself and other people a little bit better too. So I think that's a positive thing. Anyway, that's what I was trying to say yesterday. But
you see birds fighting at a feeder.
Yeah.
You have to be looking for. You hear some squabbling. Well, they sound happy to. No. I've seen pictures taken by biologists, and the birds have an ugly look on their face, and they're, trying to scare another bird off or something like that.
So I didn't like the way
So those birds aren't going to make it into heaven?
Gordon Wilson. Well, when I was little, my dad said, no, the animals don't go to heaven. And I was like, I don't want to go there then, I said to him.
Wouldn't heaven be a lot better with songbirds?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you want nightingales there? Wouldn't you want a few chickadees around, Come to your hand. Cheep, 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 say sleepy, sleepy. Yeah.
But honestly, there are a lot of people who, like Dr. Gordon Wilson seemed to be, where he seemed to know what God was thinking somehow.
This is amazing.
And
well, with a guy like this, I think they're used to lecturing or something like that.
This is not how the beaches will be run? Really?
Yeah, well,
You're going to dictate that?
Yeah, he's setting the rules for God. No sea lions. God, listen to me now?
Yeah, or
I'm a Christian
seals.
now. You better listen.
So I don't care for that. But anyway, I didn't like the snake handling at the end, but I understand it because a lot of Christians are into that. But
was he snake handling like a Christian? Like so?
No, he went to this place where they had vaccines for, or whatever, they had the antidotes for all the snakes, the venomous snakes. So he was handling all these venomous snakes, and it's like, and
people have died from getting bitten and not getting the antidote right away.
Well, he was right there. It wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I know. I don't approve of that sort of stuff. Can you imagine kids watching that? Kids could misunderstand. Wow,
So anyway, and
you'd better have a healthy fear of snakes. And you're listening to someone who's actually been raised in Africa. I saw lots and lots of snakes, many of them indoors, spitting cobras, many of them. Black mambas on the pathway to our outhouse. You're going, I'm not liking going to the outhouse.
Yeah.
And it was a long way from our house. Why? Because
some of the snakes didn't seem to mind being handled, but many of them did, and I felt bad for them. Mm-hmm. It's just like porcupines have their defenses, and when snakes have their defenses too, they're not aggressive. You're being aggressive when you're handling them like that. It's not, I don't like it. Anyway, I don't know really what else to say about this show.
Well, I'm going to say something about
Okay.
Christians.
You do.
People ask me, how come you're into Christians? I was saying, well, you got cancer. It don't take shorter time there. But I'm sitting there thinking, last person to say that to me is that person I actually enjoy being in heaven with. But the vast majority of Christians I've known, and I've known a lot. I was raised fundamentalist, more Baptist than the Baptist. The vast majority of Christians I wouldn't want to spend a lifetime with. I wouldn't want to spend a lifetime, much less an infinity of eternity with. Yeah? You're listening, Christians? Get your act together. You guys are a bunch of bozos. 99% of you. You want to make some converts out of people who really count? Get your act together. I'm not just talking about hypocrisy. The Mormon flunkies, most of them, a couple of exceptions, that were running the school down in Sterling. Principal, vice principal, a couple of hosers. I wouldn't want to spend 5 hours in one day with them. I had to. It was only part of 5 hours. What's your 5 hours? Or day? Felt lucky or something. I'm telling you, I was a good student. But in high school, I'd actually sit there and watch the clock. And I'd actually time songs like Let It Be. I'd go through all of it. All the introduction, all the verses, all the choruses, all the way to the fade out or whatever. Well, not a fade out now, but I'd try to get it so it ended up in 4 minutes and however many seconds. In other words, exact tempo and stuff like that. All right, so much I hated school, getting stuck with these guys. Not just Mormons. I went to approximately the worst teacher I ever had was K. Christian, who was part of the effort to convert Africans and stuff like that in northern Rhodesia, now Zambia. Stan Schumacher. His name had been changed. It might have been Dutch originally. Anyway, I kind of like his brother Sherman, his sister, or whatever her name was, but he was a real piece of, we're going to say work, piece of work, and he was awful. He was awful to me, he was awful to many of the kids. What a skunk. I didn't want to spend any time with him, much less a lifetime, or a lifetime of lifetime, like an eternity with him. His dad was a big old skunk too, not nearly as bad. Mother didn't impress me, so get it together, Christians. You know, like, you shouldn't have to be preaching to people. Convert so you can spend an eternity with people like me. Okay? Actually change your life. People will look at you. I mean, a couple of people like this. I'm going, one guy I worked with. I enjoyed working with the guy. And I'd actually enjoy being in heaven with him. But you have all these other bozos swamping things. Huh? People almost as bad as Donald Trump. No, Donald Trump. Look, he's not making it to heaven, folks. I don't think he's very religious at all. So all you right-wing Christians that vote for him, you're going to be down there with him, okay? But he is going to be one of the briquettes that's going to be burning everyone else. Get it straight. If there's such a thing as hell, Donald Trump's going to be down there, but there's going to be many, many Christians down there.
Getting the suntan with no sun.
Is that all then?
That's all.
Okay.
I
You
was
didn't wanna
ranting,
talk
but I
about-
wasn't really ranting. Really, a lot of Christians deserve a real good rant. Like I say, vast majority. Doesn't matter what denomination. I'm not going to even start on other religions.
So,
The Jesusville.
I didn't watch very much of this.
So was your
I was
reaction something
working
like,
out.
Jesus? Was it like,
It's seen by over 4.7 billion people in 236 nations. This is
is
very
that with no duplications? Wow, that's
the most historically accurate film about the life of Jesus.
Well, okay.
And honestly, the acting didn't seem bad or anything. It's just I'm watching movies while I'm working out.
Well,
Um,
sometimes when I'm watching it, it looks as though she's punching at the screen. She's got one of these things. Well,
and I don't know. I'm enjoying listening to Living Translations, the Old Testament, right now. With
they
James.
actually sound as though they claim they can get it
They're
through it
doing a
in
good job.
70 hours. For some reason or
Yeah.
another, while I was driving the car, I
Old
was
and
hearing
New
70
Testament.
minutes. Old and New Testament.
Yeah.
I think
We'll
they're
see.
going to get through it. He's not really
Yeah.
rushing. You know?
It's not like it's
It's not King James Version. That's for sure.
no.
It's not even James
It's
Version.
maybe the abridged version of.
I don't think it's
Yeah.
abridged.
You don't think it's abridged?
I-
Well,
They claim not.
okay.
And they're going through the stuff, you know. We've gone through a little over half an hour, and we're still in Genesis.
Anyway,
We haven't even got to Moses yet. Moses about when you're heading into Exodus. Ex means out, Ode means road.
but
The road out
I'm
of Egypt.
the luckiest person in the world because I'm getting to listen to it with James, and he knows so much about the Bible. He
And the days of Adam were, and I say, 930 before the guy gets it. And all the days of Methuselah. And I say, 969. And then I say,
Yep.
don't mention in the Bible, but if you do add up the stuff, you find out that Methuselah died in the same year as the flood. I don't mention anything about how he could have been earlier than the
well,
flood.
he was really old by that time.
Well, presumably. There's something wrong with the counting system.
Yeah.
There's some fundamentals that are going, wow, the Earth's air changed so much. Back then, people lived that long.
And
Well, tell me another
there are a
one.
lot of problems with that. Like we were talking about the snakes. If they were such a curse, then
Oh,
why
you mean that
why'd
after
they end
the
up
fall?
on the ark?
Yeah, well,
Why
it's
do we have
something like,
snakes
I think the King
Hey,
James
buddy.
Version says, you'll bruise their head. Talk to Adam. And they'll bruise your heel. It'd be more like bite. I think it's translated bruise. Probably not a very good translation. Guy who taught me Hebrew at university, Ivy League class, graduate of one of the 8 Ivy League universities in the United States and by extension the world, and not the most flunky of them, but probably the least flunky of them. He looked at a translation, he was having trouble with the word. He'd actually come out of retirement. He was doing a person a favor. It wasn't me, a kid who decided late to go into Near Eastern studies. I didn't have the Hebrew prerequisites to go into grad school. We ended up going to Harvard. But thanks to this guy who came out of